Hello, my delicious co-creators. Lilou here. I'm in Tokyo, in Japan, with Rabbi Ted Falcon. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine. It's good to be here with you.
Yes, me too. I met Rabbi Falcon yesterday at this beautiful Interfaith event, Symphony of Peace Prayer, where we were all connected to this divine spark within us, beyond our religion, beyond our beliefs, and that truly touches me. That moves me, and I think it moves more and more people as we're seeing that at the core of all these messages. There is this, for Judaism in particular, there's this oneness, which I believe this is really universal, and I want to have this conversation with you about oneness. Because a lot of conversations are around this topic in right now, and so how do you? What is that for you?
So we believe
in the religion.
Right. Well, we believe that every authentic spiritual path is an avenue to a shared universal, and that universal is greater than any particular path. Mm-hmm. And whenever a particular path thinks it owns the universal, we're all in trouble. And that universal is beyond words, it's beyond image, even though it contains all words and all images. There's nothing outside of that one. So in Jewish tradition, which was the origin of monotheism in the Western world, the idea of oneness was once perceived as outside ourselves. And as human consciousness evolved, we began to understand that the nature of oneness is allness. There's nothing outside that one. So that we have an expression within Jewish tradition, Adonai hu ha-Elohim, the essential teaching. Adonai is a way of speaking of the absolute transcendent one. The one who is not only everything, but infinitely more, beyond everything.
Yes.
And then Eloheinu, or Elohim, which is the one manifest.
Oh, there was some kind of light bulb that just explodes, but this is a divine maybe manifestation.
Okay, so here I'm speaking stuff that has some power to it.
Just a little word about that's actually things that you listen to when there's like signs like that, or synchronicities, or this is part of how you live daily too, to hear like this, something happens like that, this is out of the ordinary, let me pay attention about that. This is part of the oneness conversation.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It's synchronicity, where something is happening. Ultimately, a sound like that says, wake up. Wow. Pay attention. Something's happening. You know, what I hear in that sound at this moment is there's a challenge in talking about things like this, because there's a tendency to make it sound very glib, rather than understanding that what we're talking about is the very essence of the nature of reality.
Yes.
So
we're beyond religion.
Well, it's like the question I ask is, what is religion for? Religion is an avenue beyond itself. And as far as I can tell, every religious tradition has that within it, that it's a path to something greater. It's an avenue to something greater than that which can be expressed through any words, any scripture, any image. So the oneness, which on one hand is transcendent, includes everything, also is that which awakens within each and every being. That's Elohim. Elohim is another word for God. It's the second most used word for God, but it's a plural noun, always conjugated as a singular, because it's the one manifesting as the many. A continual reminder that even though our senses tell us we're separate, even though our personalities experience ourselves as separate, we're actually not separate at all. Yeah. We impact each other, we communicate with each other far beyond the words we share.
Yeah. And just on a day-to-day level, there are groups, there are people getting together, there's people that would help more a certain group than others. What I'm trying to say is that we are human beings, and we will favor some people or some situation, or separate ourselves, label it. This person is from this religion, therefore they're like that. So there's all these stereotypes, and the people within this religion also project that. I think. How is this evolving? I mean, how can we go beyond that? Because I think we're right now in this paradigm shift, going towards oneness, really incarnating this oneness ourselves, oneness within, oneness with all that is, oneness with all the religions, oneness beyond this judgment and those. How do we, Rabbi? How do we go? How do we just expand that so that we can experience a holistic reality, one where we're this divine being, like this divine spark, as the Fuji Declaration stated? Okay, so it doesn't mean giving up our uniqueness. Yes.
And this is something that concerns people who are affiliated with their own tradition, and they get concerned that if we really go into this oneness consciousness, are we giving up our unique identity? Yes. And that would be like me saying, there's no function of me being Ted, of you being who you are. No, it's not like that. It's like the universe is saying, how can I make best use of the consciousness that I carry within me? How can you make best use of it through you in the service of our shared awakening? So all human beings need community. It seems to be a basic need we have. There was a time when community was the extended family. Today, that's rare, particularly in the United States. Community becomes an affiliation. It might be a church, might be a synagogue, might be a mosque, might be a Buddhist temple, a Hindu temple. It might be a non-religious group. It might be a social action group. Whatever it is, we crave.
Facebook these days.
we crave some kind of community, and that has to be supported. Yes. But we got to ask the question, what is that for? What are we gathering together to support? And if all we're doing is gathering together to support ourselves, our own unit, our own grouping of whatever kind that is, we're missing the whole point. We're gathering together to discover the deeper integrity of our way and the greater universal message which is being spoken through our symbols, through our rituals, through our rites, and through our traditions. So it's been my lifelong quest to discover, to celebrate, to express, and to share the universal teachings through my Jewish heritage. But what I'm interested in are the messages, the teachings, which support our awakening to the common life we share. The golden rule, which awakens within various cultures, is actually not a rule. It's a reality. When we think of it as a rule, it becomes an ego thing, where I'm supposed to be nice to people. It's not that. The golden rule comes from a spiritual awakening to appreciate that the one who's looking at me through your eyes and the one who's looking at you through my eyes is the same one. And although our personalities, our personas, our individuality is separate and distinct, we are carrying the same life. And how do we act in the world to acknowledge, to celebrate, and to express that? Well, we automatically, if we're aware of that, we automatically treat another as a dignified expression of that one. In the language of the Fuji Declaration, it's the spark. The spark that animates your being and the spark that animates my being is the same spark. There's no more than one spark. It's like the light of your candle and the light of my candle is the same light. There's no better light. It's like a flame is a flame.
Yeah. Talking about flame, it reminds me, I have to just get this out of the way, but it reminds me when I was living in Arizona, I'm French American, but when I was living in Arizona, I had some Jewish friends. I'm from a Catholic background, but I had Jewish friends, so I would go to the synagogue, and you know how when kids you're all open and you're discovering, but they told me about this red light, this red flame, and if that red flame, I remember, would just not there anymore, then I wouldn't be alive. Like there was this. And that's scary. Like there is those thoughts or those maybe limiting beliefs, or maybe you can explain more what this flame is and how we can be empowered by it, rather than, because we misinterpret things like that, and then it's limiting our experience. I'm sure that the meaning of it is completely different than what I got at the age of 8.
I never heard that.
So maybe that's a friend. You see, that's what's beautiful. Like amongst kids, how other things like are shared. Right. And
the light is called a ner tamid, which literally means an eternal light, a light that's burning all the time. However, in the Torah, the ner tamid, the eternal light, was just kindled at night. So it was kindled at times of darkness. And then later on in the life of the synagogue, it became traditional to have that light burning all the time. And it originally was an oil light, now it's an electric light that burns all the time to remind us of the light that is within. But the times we really need to remember that are at times of darkness. Yes. When my life is going great, when everything's happy, I'm not focused on that. You know, there's an expression of that that's natural. Yes. The times I really need it, the times we really need it, are at times of struggle and times of difficulty and times of darkness.
Yeah. And that's the spark, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Last little word on La Kabbalah, the kabbalah. Is it something that you? What do you think of that? Because I happen to do several interviews around the world, and more and more people are called about this. Can we say mystic aspect of Judaism?
Kabbalah, which is a Hebrew word that means that which is received. So in many ways it reflects the ongoing tradition of revelation, connection with Source, and the expression of that connection within Jewish tradition. Kabbalah is the heart of the Jewish mystical tradition, but not all Jewish mysticism is Kabbalah. Kabbalah itself is focused primarily on what's called the 32 paths of wisdom. The first 10 paths are the 10 levels of the tree of life. They're called Sfirot, and they illustrate how the universe, how creation flows from nothing to something. That's down the tree. And going up the tree is the path of spiritual awakening, which is going from something to nothing. And then the other 22 paths are expressed by the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, each of which carries a specific energy. There are meditations which are specific to letters, visualization of letters, writing letters, pronouncing letters, that wind up being, in the Jewish system, the mantras and the yantras, the images. So that, like, meditation is meditation. However, each tradition will use its own language, will use its own rituals as a focus for that meditation. That which meditation helps us become available for is absolutely one. It's like if one talks about silence, there's no Jewish silence and Christian silence and Buddhist silence. Silence is the one thing all human beings forever have always shared. It's the one thing in our own lives that never changes. It was the same when we were kids, it's the same when we're growing, it's the same when we're old.
Eternal.
There is a single silence that we're sharing all the time.
Yes.
And to be aware of that. In Jewish tradition, the spark is the awakening of that silence into what we understand as space and time.
How do you see enlightenment?
How I see enlightenment, how it gets expressed, is very simple. I know that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. I am doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I am with exactly the person I'm supposed to be with in this moment. And I am exactly who I am supposed to be now. The moment of enlightenment on a conscious level is a moment of neither resisting nor pulling. There's no desire, there's no repression, there's no suppression, there's no denial of whatever's going on inside, whatever's going on outside. There is absolute acceptance. And that acceptance automatically cuts behind the ego mind. The ego doesn't know what to do when it's totally accepted. And that is, in fact, the avenue to that shared silence. And that is, in fact, the avenue to what we call the mikdash ma'at, the sanctuary that awakens within each and every being.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for this delicious moment and interview, Ted. Thank you.
It's delightful to sit with you.
Big kisses to all of you, my delicious co-creators. We love you. We thank you. And please share this video wildly. So much love and compassion and light and wisdom needs to be shared. Thank you.